Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Jaya Vraja Jana Ranjana Jaya Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Jaya Vraja Jana Ranjana Jaya Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanajari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanajari Jaya Kunjami Rama 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 Shri Radhe Jaya Rama 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 Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Kashmir Chayam Vishnu Parata Paramahams Hari Vrachakacharya Ashtotra Sata Shishimat Shila Abhayacharya Vrinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from the fourth canto,
chapter 27, verse 9. Putranam cha bhavan putram. Putranam cha bhavan putram. Ekai gasya jatam jatam. Ekai gasya jatam jatam. Yarvai Puranjanu Vangsha. Yarvai Puranjanu Vangsha. Banjali Jusa Medita. Banjali Jusa Medita. Please repeat.
Putranam cha bhavam putra.
Putranam cha bhavan putra.
Ekai gasya satam satam.
Ekai gasya jatam jatam.
Yarvai Puranjano Vamsha.
Yarvai Puranjano Vangsha.
Panchaleshu Samadhita.
Manjaleju Samedita.
Putranam cha bhavan putra.
Putranam cha bhavan putra.
Ekaikasya shatam shatam.
Ekaikasya shatam shatam.
Yarvai Puranjano Vamsha.
Yarvai Puranjano Vangsha.
Panchaleshu sameditaha.
Manjaleju Samedita.
Putranam cha bhavan putra.
Putranam cha bhavan putra.
Ekaikasya shatam shatam.
Ekaikasya jatam jatam.
Yarvai Puranjano Vamsaha.
Yarvai Puranjano Vangsha.
Panchaleshu samahaditaha.
Manjaleju Samedita.
Putranam cha bhavan putra.
Putranam cha bhavan putra.
Ekakasya shatam shatam.
Ekaikasya jatam shatam.
Yarvai Puranjano Vamsha.
Yarvai Puranjano Vangsha.
Panchaleshu sameditaha.
Banjaleju Samedita. Okay, synonyms. Putranam,
Putranam
of the sons.
of the sons.
Ja, also.
Also
Abhavan,
Abhavan
were produced.
produced.
Sons. Eka Ekasya,
Ekaikasya
of each one. Shatam, 100.
100.
Shatam,
Shatam
100.
100.
Nyaya,
Here
by
by
whom,
whom?
by. Certainly, Puranjana, of the king Puranjana.
Of the king Puranjana.
Vangsha,
Vamsha.
family. Panchaleju,
Panchaleshu.
in the land of Panchal. Samedita, greatly increased. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Of these many sons, each produced hundreds and hundreds of grandsons. In this way, the whole city of Panchal became overcrowded by the sons and grandsons of King Puranjana. Purport, by His Grace, Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki. We must remember that Puranjana is a living entity and the city, Panchal, is a body. The body is a field of activity for the living entity, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra, Kshetragya. There are two constituents. One is a living entity, Kshetragya, and the other is the body of the living entity, Kshetra. Any living entity can know that he is covered by the body if he only contemplates the body a little bit. Just with a little contemplation, he can come to understand that the body is his possession. One can understand this by practical experience and by the authority of the Shastras. In Bhagavad Gita 2.13, it is said, Dehinosmin yatadehe. The proprietor of the body, the soul, is within the body. The body is taken as a panchaldesha, or the field of activities, wherein the living entity can enjoy the senses in their relationship to the five sense objects, namely Gandha, Rasa, Rupa, Sparsha and Shabda. That is, sense objects made out of earth, water, fire, air and sky. That Gandha is connected to smell, means earth, and Rupa,
Rasa.
Again, fire, Rasa, Sparsha, But so Shabda is the last one. This is, of course, hearing, and Parsha means air. I don't know. I ask you therefore. Again, Gandha is connected to. We have these five senses again: Gandha, Rasa, Rupa, Sparsha, and Shabda. Gandha is connected to earth. Rasa is connected to Rupa, connected to Sparsha, and Shabda, sky. Yeah, same. Thank you. Within this material world, covered by the material body of subtle and gross matter, every living entity creates actions and reactions, which are herein known allegorically as sons and grandsons. There are two kinds of actions and reactions, namely pious and impious. In this way, our material existence becomes coated by different actions and reactions. In this regard, Srila Narottam Das Thakur states, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Kevala Vishera Bandha, Amrita Balya Yeba Kaya, Nana Yoni Sada Fire, Kadarye Bhakshani Kare, Tara Janma Ada Pate Yaya. Means fruitive activities and mental speculation are simply cups of poison. Whoever drinks of them, thinking them to be nectar, must struggle very hard life after life in different types of bodies. Such a person eats all kinds of nonsense and becomes condemned by his activities of so-called sense enjoyment. Then back to Srila Prabhupada. Thus the field of action and reactions by which one's descendants are increased begins with sex, alive. Puranjana increased his whole family by begetting sons, who in their turn begot grandsons. Thus the living entity, being inclined towards sexual gratification, becomes involved in many hundreds and thousands of actions and reactions. In this way, he remains within the material world simply for the purpose of sense gratification and transmigrates from one body to another. I have 6 grandsons also. His process of reproducing so many sons and grandsons results in so-called societies, nations, communities, and so on. All these communities, societies, dynasties, and nations simply expand from sex life. As stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Yan Maltunadi Griyamedi Sukam Hi Tujam. A Griyamedi is one who wants to remain within this material body, this material existence. This means that he wants to remain within this body or society and enjoy friendship, love and community. His only enjoyment is increasing the number of sex enjoyers. He enjoys sex and produces children who in their turn marry and produce grandchildren. The grandchildren also marry and in their turn produce great-grandchildren. In this way the entire earth becomes overpopulated, and then suddenly there are reactions provoked by material nature in the form of war, famine, pestilence, earthquakes, etc. Thus the entire population is again extinguished simply to be recreated. This process is explained in Bhagavad Gita 8:19 as repeated creation, and annihilation. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Due to a lack of Krishna consciousness, all this creation and annihilation is going on under the name of human civilization. This cycle continues due to man's lack of knowledge of the soul and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the end of the part. Let's offer our prayer to Guru Parampara before we begin. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Namom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Brishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gora Vani Pracharine Nirvishesha Junyavati Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Before I begin, I would like to seek the blessings of the senior Vaishnavas and all devotees assembled here. Mancha kalpadrupyascha kripa sundyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We have now heard a lot about Puranjana, about his qualities and activities, and also about the result that his way of life brings. We have also long understood what the result of such a life will be. Puranjana is a living being who can never free himself from the cycle of birth and death. Like this. Like most of the earth dwellers, he is a Griyamedi. Prabhupada describes in detail the characteristics of a Griyamedi in the explanation. He states, a Griyamedi is one who wants to remain within this material existence. This means that he wants to remain within this body or society and enjoy friendship, love and community. His only enjoyment is increasing the number of sex enjoyers. He enjoys sex and produces children who in their turn marry and produce grandchildren. This is a Griyamedi. And I think in the West, most of all people who live here are Griyamedis. Now Prabhupada tells us the story of a neophyte who misunderstood the instruction of his guru and became a Griyamedi. I want to tell the story now. Once a renounced spiritual master presented his neophyte disciple with a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. I think many of you know this story already. Instructing him to study the book all the time. The disciple, eager to imitate the advanced status of his guru, entered a cave in the Vindhya hill, and there he read the Gita day and night. Now, while the disciple took rest, a mouse who lived in the cave nibbled at the pages of the holy book, leaving the edges ragged. The disciple was very upset about this. And now, how he solved the problem? He went down to the hillside, to a village, and found a kitten, which he brought back to the cave to deal with the mouse. But the kitten required milk. So the disciple managed to find a pious farmer who willingly parted with one cow. Then the would-be renunciate constructed a cowshed with materials that he begged from here and there, and with great endeavor he dragged them up the hillside. Even after building the shed, the disciple found it too difficult to maintain the cow alone. He has to read, of course. At last he found a young villager who was willing, simply for 3 meals a day, to tend the cow. But now the aspiring hermit was faced with the duty of cooking the rice daily for the cowherd, and as well preparing his own meals. This meant he had to visit the village at least once a day to beg sufficient foodstuffs and firewood, and then bring it all up to the cave. The villagers were less supportive now that his possessions had increased. One of them even mocked the disciple, saying, "You've become a busy householder. Why do you persist in this charade of renunciation? Get married and work like the rest of us." Finding it impossible to meet his requirements, the disciple did just that. As his family grew, his needs grew also, until at last he lived in a comfortable villa on a large tract of land as the owner of many animals and the employer of many servants. After the guru became aware that his disciple had abandoned the cave, he traced him to his new home and was astonished to find him amidst all these trappings of worldly existence. Now, what does all this mean? He demanded of his disciple. "O Divine Master," came the reply, "this is my family and my property. They are for the Gita study that you ordered me to do." All this happened to so many Grihastas, even without this order to read Bhagavad Gita. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati comments on this narration, the scriptures enjoin, Yavanirvaha pratigraha, accept only which is essential for serving the Lord. This means that the devotee centers his requirements in life around Krishna and not around himself. He is concerned neither with excessive gain nor excessive renunciation. Indeed, if an aspirant on the spiritual path becomes selfishly inclined, even in the matter of renunciation, his vanity is displayed in his show of detachment from the world. That selfishness is very liable to mislead him to accumulating excessive material possessions in the name of maintaining his spiritual life. Another way that material attachment creeps into the life of a renunciate is through attraction to material knowledge. If pride is fostered through mastery of the scriptures and through philosophical erudition, that knowledge is only material and will result in the fall down of the student into material entanglement. Also there are two ways to fall down. One is to accumulate wealth, even more and more, or you can accumulate wisdom, knowledge, and it's also a trap. This was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's comment. Now, one should acquire a livelihood that is just sufficient to keep body and soul together. This is a quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Bhaktisiddhanta makes it clear here that a devotee does not necessarily need to become a Griyamedi. He can otherwise go astray by immersing himself in the scriptures and then using this knowledge to seek the recognition that will give him satisfaction. Has somebody an idea how you could this so-called renunciate solve his problem with this mouse? Yes?
Put the book in a box.
Yes, so easy. One box, it requires only one box. The problem would be solved, but you saw how the result was. And this is end of quote of Bhaktisiddhanta. Now, we know by now which path we had better not tread if we do not want to become totally entangled in this world. So if you want to become housekeepers, who of you is already a housekeeper? Nobody? You? You? Who else? You? Not? You also? You? Okay. Then, not a Griyamedi, but a, what's the other term for a Grihast? Grihasta. And when you read a few quotes from the scriptures that describe the Grihasta ashram, the Grihasta is a trained up householder, trained up. That means he learned how to live as a householder. If anyone, even if he is a householder, wants to make progress in spiritual life, he must control his sex life and should not beget a child without the purpose of serving Krishna. If he is able to beget children who will be in Krishna consciousness, one can produce hundreds of children, but without this capacity, one should not indulge only for sense pleasure. This is a quote from Bhagavad Gita 16:1-3. Then another quote: charity is meant for the householders. The householders should earn a livelihood by a honorable means and spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. I don't know if this is possible nowadays, because I would say 50% of this what is left we should give for Krishna conscience purposes. Otherwise, we cannot survive anymore in Kali Yuga. Even in Switzerland not. The best sacrifice recommended in this age is called Sankirtan Yagya. This Sankirtan Yagya, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the best and most inexpensive sacrifice. Everyone can adopt it and derive benefit. So these three items, namely charity, sense control, and performance of sacrifice, are meant for the householder. Another quote, especially for the householder devotees, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. As far as possible, every householder, by the direction of the spiritual master, must install the deity of Vishnu. This is from Bhagavatam. And another, from Bhagavad Gita again. One should not remain a householder throughout his whole life. He must always remember that there are 4 divisions of life: Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So after Grihastha householder life, one should retire. Now I want to mention few names of ideal householder from the scriptures. There is Maharaj Parikshit, Advaita Prabhu, Srivas Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Yudhishthir, for example, but there are many others also. In chapter 25, text 4, Narad Muni asked King Prachinabarishat, "My dear king, what do you desire to achieve by performing these fruitive activities?" The chief aim of life is to get rid of all miseries and enjoy happiness. But these two things cannot be realized by fruitive activities. Also, rid of all miseries and enjoy happiness. This is the chief aim of life. These two things. To teach the king how to achieve the goal of life, Narad Muni told the allegory of King Puranjana, and for this he needed 4 chapters in the Bhagavatam. Now, in order to have a woman speak on this subject, I turn to Queen Rukmini in Dwaraka. Narada was a man, King Puranjana, or the King Prachinabarisat was also a man, and they spoke together, 4 chapters. Now, Queen Rukmini speaks about the same topic to Krishna. And she brings the same to the point in a few sentences. Listen carefully. One lady, the same topic in few sentences. With her words, I would like to close this class. She said to Krishna, "In the society of the servitors and served in Krishna consciousness, one is not subjected to the pains and pleasures of material society, which functions according to sex attraction. Therefore, everyone, whether man or woman, should seek to be an associate in your society of servitors and served. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one can excel you, nor can anyone come up to an equal level with you. The perfect social system is that in which you remain in the center being served as a supreme and all others engages as usurpers, in such a perfectly constructed society, everyone can remain eternally happy and blissful. Okay, this is all what I have to say. And now, yes, there are some realizations or comments or maybe questions from your side. Yes.
Not about Vajamil. Is this point have some?
Take the mic, then everybody can hear it.
Why is it loud? So much loud. Need microphone?
Yeah, it's not for mic is not for us. It's for the listener from outside.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would not also not need this mic.
Actually, I have confused
Yes.
with this topic and Ajamil. The topic have some point there. Anything? Asking you.
I did not understand the question.
Ajamil
Yes. This,
live
yes.
and this topic, the Griha Medhi,
Yes.
Adarsa Grihastha, they have some mix there.
Connections. you mean.
Connection, yes.
Yes. Also he was a Brahmana, a very pious and learned Brahmana, but because he saw a couple in the wood, they made intercourse, something like that. I do not know exactly what they did. But after he was attracted to this woman, she was a prostitute. And then exactly same happened like with this renunciate. He spent his life with her and had to fill all her desires, and he was so attracted to her body that he fell down completely and he forgot everything he learned before. But because he had a son with, his name was Narayan, he was on the deathbed, he called his son and Krishna accepted this as his name and saved him. Because of all his pious activities before, he came back and he gave him a chance again. He didn't leave the body at that time. He started then a new life as a renunciate, and at the end he went back to Godhead. That means if we fall down, if we fall in this trap, it's not chancenlos. Means you have still the chance to go back to Krishna consciousness and repent what you did. My Guru always says, Krishna doesn't see the faults, your mistakes. He sees what you do for him. And if we repent and change our life, everything will be nice again. But it doesn't mean you can make mistakes and think, okay, he will anyway not see it. This is not the idea about this statement. Is this clear?
Clear. And one more question.
Yes.
I see so many devotees enjoying Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
And 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, then the lake
Yes.
is gone.
This is-
Completely forgot to prepare. I see many, because I'm 10 years I coming this first country.
Yeah.
So I don't see anymore the devotees.
Yes, this experience I have also. All these nice devotees, when I...
My question,
yeah.
what is the reason?
Why they leave?
Then for temple they need to collect it to devotees, or his problem, or a temple devotees need to correct them, need to invite them, they encourage them. What is the meaning, the problem?
Why they leave? This is you want to ask me. Why they leave?
Yeah.
As I told you already, when I first started to come here, there were so many devotees, and I was so astonished about their knowledge, and they was so bright, you know, so shiny, and I think almost all of them I don't see anymore. Maybe for a theatre a few of them, but that's all. And I could see many, they left, and what I saw, but I don't know how they practice Krishna consciousness at home. This I don't know, because I never see them. And I have also no connection to them anymore. Many even left ISKCON, or they left their guru and so on. But when you get initiation, you will promise that you keep few things. 4 regulative principles. You chant 16 rounds minimum daily. If you keep this, even if you leave the movement, if you keep this as grihasta, as householder, and you have to be connected with the devotees. Maybe we know Guru Sadhu Shastra. If you keep this in your mind, you will never fall down. Krishna will protect you. And even Maya, she's not interested anymore in you. Because why she should? Because Maya is always testing us. But if you follow these rules, then she has no interest to prove you. There is no proof is needed anymore. But as householder, everybody knows if you have wife and children and you are fully engaged in your profession, it's not so much time left for other things. And if you want to chant 16 rounds, there is no space anymore for reading other things or for enjoy other outside. It's not. And if you start, sure, slowly you will reduce either your japa or your reading. Your whole sadhanas will decrease and decrease, and you think everything is fine. You will not recognize it. That's a problem. But that's Maya. She covers you, and you feel, oh, I'm still a devotee. I'm a good devotee. But that's very dangerous if you think like that. Mm-hmm. And also this is what I saw. I saw many, even they lived in Radhakund. They had their own property. I know 4 devotees. They had their own property in Radhakund. They had a so strong sadhana in the beginning. But all of them had to leave. Radharani kicked them out, all of them. Because they could not maintain their sadhana. And then, after some time, you know, internet you have still in Radhakund. You don't need to become a big householder, and internet is already enough to fall down, you know. You are in the most holy place, but you can get everything stupid there also. Or, if you are not, if you don't have this good sadhana, you are attracted from the other things. That's normal. That's Maya. Maya is everywhere, even in Radhakund. But my hope is always that once they will realize, you know, they become older, the children will leave, then they have more time, or after retirement anyway, they are actually free from most of the family duties. And I hope they remember then, oh, once I was a devotee and I want to come back again. It's never too late. You saw Vivachamil, it was not too late. But we have to wait for this time. I'm still waiting. Yes. Okay, something else? Yes? Oh, yeah. Mataji first, please.
Hare Krishna. If I may give a little comment on Prabhuji's question. I think one of the very important reasons that we stay in Krishna consciousness, because after 10-15 years you know most of the things. If you don't go deeper, it becomes static, and then we don't remain so much. So I think the important thing is the principle of taking shelter and giving shelter. Like if we have a Shiksha Guru, like often our Diksha Guru, maybe it's not so accessible to us. But if we have good mentors that we have access to, that we feel comfortable with, and we also giving shelters in preaching, we are very well situated and inspired. And that is the key also, that we should continue to be inspired. And that is hard when, say, we know, like in the beginning, everything is new when we take pleasure in learning Vedanga, we take pleasure in learning the scriptures, we take pleasure in all these things. But after, sometimes we know most of the things, and we need something that really deepens our enthusiasm and steadiness. And I think the principle of shelter, Devaki Mataji talks a lot about it, and I have personally felt it also in my life. When I take shelter of my Shiksha Guru, and also if I engage in preaching, I feel inspired. Then it's a safety net.
Okay,
so I wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
There's a story of Bharat who became a deer because he became attached. And I believe the reason there was that he didn't have guidance, he didn't have devotee association, and he didn't have the guidance of a spiritual master. Although he was very advanced, he was in the stage of Bhava, he
was
became distracted. So my question is, this person who followed the instruction of the Guru and went to read Bhagavad Gita, why did he become distracted? Why did, like, he was doing the highest, he's fully engaging in devotional service. Why is he not getting the intelligence to just get a box to put the book? Why? How did that happen?
You speak about this neophyte now.
Yes. Why did Krishna not give him the intelligence to get a box?
Yeah, that means maybe he gave him, but he chose the other one. You know, you are always free to choose, you know. This is our free will we have. You can choose Krishna or you can choose something else. I don't know what happened. No, this is not in the story. It's not written. But if you attracted somehow, you know, he was not on this level like Bharat. You know, of course not. That he was a neophyte, and then he chose the other one. That's natural because he was alone. And alone in the beginning, how can you survive? Because your mind comes with you. If you could let the mind at home, then it would be easy, but it's not possible.
So the Guru didn't actually instruct him to go to a cave?
No.
That was the way that he...
The instruction was to read Bhagavad Gita daily. But then he thought the best is I go to a cave, then I'm free and nobody will disturb me. It was his idea, but how can a neophyte survive like that?
So then the question comes that after he made all these arrangements, he wasn't reading anymore, I assume, or hardly reading.
It's not mentioned, but I think he didn't have time anymore.
So then, what should he have done in the first place? Was it not natural then to become a grihastha in the first place, and then he would also be in a similar situation, or not?
I cannot answer this. I don't know what would be the best.
Maybe reading association.
Yes, association is very much important, always, for everybody. How can you survive without connection to other devotees? If you don't have devotees in everybody needs association, everybody. That's normal. But if you have not association with devotees, you have association with others. And we know how this infects us. You have also a question?
Yes,
a comment on a comment, yes, please. That's the last one. It's time now to...
So I was thinking, it was mentioned that he's nachahmen. Nachahmen. Also he thinks that he's have to go to the cave like his spiritual master
Yes,
does,
he wants
like a yogi.
yes, yes.
And that's actually not the instruction of the spiritual master. And I think many fall downs are because we think we are too great, and we don't just do what the spiritual master tells us, and then Krishna is not willing to give you the knowledge, because as he said, Krishna could have given him, but when
Yes,
you're proud
yes.
and when you make offenses, then Krishna won't give, and that's yeah.
You know, we have to be aware, Krishna and the spiritual master are not different. You know, if you do what the spiritual master says to you, means you do what Krishna wants from you. This is never separated, this is always connected. And he will not, and he was imitating. We should never imitate somebody else. We are not this person. We are our own person, and we have to start where we are, not on a higher level. It will never work. This is also written in Bhagavad Gita. You can never imitate somebody. You can follow him. That means you try to increase your sadhana. But you cannot start here when you are here. How is this possible? Okay, then it's time to stop now. Thank you very much. Now it's time for breakfast. Hare Krishna. Jai. Jai.
Vrindavan Chandra Dasa.
Hare Prabhupada ki.
Where is this cave? I would like to go and...
Weißt du, was mir in den Sinn kommt? Weißt du, der da war, der Jean-Claude, der ist doch jetzt auf Mallorca gegangen, so genau an so einer Art, da ist jetzt zweimal in den Sinn gekommen. Und sie wundern, wie man es dort hat.
Ja, richtige Erlebnis müssen wir machen. Ich weiß nicht, wie lange es geschafft hat.
Ja.
Da hätte sie nachher
Aber immerhin, der hat ja gerade die Erfahrung gemacht, und weiß, was man nachreichen Und das wird sehr gut. Müssen wir alle nicht machen, oder?
Wenn er mir die Guru gesagt hat, dann
das ist die Form von Intelligenz, oder? Und die Beste, wenn man viel Erfahrung hat, das macht, was die Guru sagt, und ich habe einfach gedacht, das muss ich abbewahren. Elisa, ja genau, ja, dann so, ja.
Star, they should be also giving food and one could speak of water. So he would give the man some food and in der Nähe von der Licht. Du musst eben alle ganz Haus.
Ja, das heisst, er müssen essen. Für alles müssen sie selber schauen. Das ist eigentlich das, was er hat ja eigentlich sein Haus gehabt. Ob es jetzt eine Höhe ist oder ein Hauspicker. Ein Haushalter ist, wenn du selber verantwortlich bist für dein Leben. Und